let's talk about what should be a cult classic and maybe even the best movie video game adaptation. Remember last year when I reviewed a horror movie made by Toho, the same company famous for creating Godzilla? The H-Man was a underappreciated horror treasure with good atmosphere, original effects, and rarely ever talked about. Well, here's another one. Sweet Home was released in Japan in January of 1989, and since then has had no North American release. Japan VHS release does exist, and online you can find a subtitled version of the film, but no official release or official way to stream the film, and honestly, this is a massive shame. I mean, I think Toho's underappreciated damn near classic here, and I'll get into why they won't release it and why it should be a cult classic in a second. The producer of the film was unhappy with director Kiyoshi Kurosawa had released in theaters and went on to reshoot and re-edit the film behind his back, which that version of the film is public today. The original Sweet Home, which was put in Japanese theaters, hasn't seen the light of day since. In 1997, the same producer who recut the film would be found dead after seemingly being killed by the Yakuza who made him jump off the roof of an office building after having an affair, all staged as a suicide, which is kind of insane and sadly adds to why Toho won't release the film. But honestly, the Yakuza don't play about their women. The film was released the same year as its video game counterpart. Even the trailer is marketing for both. The game follows the same plot, and much like the movie, it never hit the States, only being released on the Famicom. In 1993, the game designer began working on a remake. Thinking zombies were a better fit in the climate of the 90s, the ghost was replaced and the project retitled Biohazard, known in the States as Resident Evil. So not only is this film a masterpiece of foreign horror, but it would spawn one of the most iconic survival horror games ever. The actual film we are talking about follows a film crew in a cursed mansion trying to uncover these murals. In the Mamaya mansion, they are met with a grieving woman's ghost who accidentally killed her baby in a furnace and will go under the same to other villagers' babies to give her kids someone to play with before killing herself and now haunting the mansion. Yeah, I know, it's a little bit dark. The film crew is picked off at the halfway mark, and the ghost moves through shadows, and much like other haunted mansion films, they move objects, killing off the victims as well. The camera guy begins melting from the inside out, is cut in half by it, slowly turning into goop. He crawls towards the star of the show, and the most Sam Raimi-esque shot I've ever seen not done by Raimi himself. It's also my favorite shot of the film, and a perfectly eerie moment. An axe found earlier in the film claims the star, and both of them melt this red goo. The two producers, Asuka and Kazuo, and the lead producer's daughter, Emmy, try to escape, but the mother possesses Emmy. The man from the gas station earlier shows up, having tried to warn them of this curse. He's also, by the way, played by that producer. He helps them fight off the mom before being fucking melted. And again, one of the greatest melting scenes ever seen on film. The dad and Asuka get separated, and Asuka has to save Emmy on her own. She crawls into the furnace to save her because the force is one with her or something. They fend off from the mad ghost mom and reunite this ghost mom with her tiny baby casket her child was in, and this allows them to send to heaven, I guess. Oh yeah, the dad producer spent the whole finale hiding in a cabinet. Seriously, dude, what the fuck? There's a lot of reasons this film stands out. A Sam Raimi-esque camera work for one makes for countless scenes that are super dynamic and often really eerie for the average viewer. Dick Smith did the effects for this one, who had worked in the past on The Exorcist and Scanners, just to name a few. So the effects are top-notch, and yeah, they are. I mean, they're the biggest highlight of the film. The melting scenes give Street Trash a run for its money, and its almost translucent red glow is kind of otherworldly. The gas man's death is possibly my favorite kill from any Japanese horror flick, and it really does look insane. The mother's ghost is another standout here, where it's just kind of like a marvel of effects from this era. The ghost evolves with these baby faces morphing out of it. It's a great effect that it kind of reminds me of the Green Lantern villain Crib. The film has some suspenseful scenes too. There's a moment where the remaining heroes are trying to break out of the house while the shadows creeping behind them. And between the music and the editing, it's a very on the edge of your seat kind of scene. And right as you think, phew, they made it, nope, the daughter is snatched right back in. And the music on top of that is an important part of the film. The composer was very famous for rhythm games, and you could hear that in this. But it's a weird way that kind of really works. I think the sound design is a very underappreciated and important aspect of the film, especially in horror. And this is sort of different take on the sound, but one that still fits the scene almost every time. And again, when she gets snatched, it really, you feel into it. You feel invited into the scene. On top of all this, the film juggles a comedic element to it, and it never goes so dark to the point where the film becomes overly depressing, but it's still really heavy. A grieving mother who kills other babies that give her son playmates in the afterlife, now haunting a mansion, possessing a daughter with no mother, needing guidance to ascend. It's still really dark, and on the flip side, the comedic elements don't really feel out of place in the film. Also, randomly in the film, there's a sign that says Home Sweet Home in English, and in the end song is sung in English too randomly. Even though this was never officially released outside of Japan and was only subtitled by fans, so I have no clue why those two things exist here, and on top of that, there's a chorus can in there too, some American product placement, I guess. Side note, there's one scene in the Gas Man's exposition dump where the subtitles just give up briefly, and another when I think they left at him cursing someone out, but honestly, I have no clue.
Yup.
The film's got some cool lines, like even inside your fist is darkness, and the film beat Marvel to the punch, having an end credits scene where the mansion collapses in as a sequel disqualifier. This is something I think more horror fans should talk about. In dire need of a Blu-ray release, Sweet Home is a foreign classic, and one of my favorite horror films from Japan, with insane effects, a fun plot, solid sound design and score, a cool-ass Nintendo game, some top-notch cinematography, a Green Lantern ghosty villain, shadow people, and another god-awful song. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're not already, drop a little subscription down below. Make sure you stay tuned because every day in the month of October, I'm dropping a different horror movie review. I believe they come at 7 a.m. Eastern time. And so keep an eye out for that. And then every other week throughout October, there's a bonus comic video still coming up. I still want to make sure there's still some combo content on the channel. And then throughout the rest of the year, there's combo content every single week, 1 to 2 times a week. Plus, I do the YouTube Shorts where I post stuff on there every day. I got the Instagram, I got the Facebook, I got the Facebook group Fandoms Unleashed, where you get a behind-the-scenes look at the whole channel, everything, Connor's Comics, the whole company, all that kind of stuff. So all that is linked down in the description below. And again, make sure you subscribe. Keep an eye out for updating daily videos. And until next time, peace.